back to the Travelling in a New Vegan World Online Summit 2022. I am Bridie, one of the organisers of this summit, and I'm also the co-owner of World Vegan Travel. I want to welcome everybody who has joined us today. Thank you for joining us in this session, and I'm really excited to introduce you to Anya from Living Veggie with Anya, who is going to be talking about Georgian food. It's a very, very interesting topic. This is a great armchair travel topic, and I think you're going to learn a lot here. So before I pass you over to Anya, a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, we really, really encourage you to answer any questions in the Q&A box that is at the bottom of the screen there. And you can, of course, enter any comments, questions, or contribute to the conversation in the chat as well. I want to let you know that replays will be available within 24 hours of this talk going live, and they will continue to be live until the 5th of February. So if you can't stay around for this whole chat for whatever reason, if you want to come back to it later, you can. If there is a friend of yours who would really love to listen to this presentation or any of the other presentations, they can simply register for the summit and watch this talk and all of the other talks that have happened so far. So I invite you to do that too. I want to thank all of the sponsors of this summit. They include World Vegan Travel, Tierno Tours, Vegan Vacations, Green Earth Travel, and Veg Voyages. I also want to let you know, and Anya is going to talk a little bit about this, that there is a free ebook that's available from this talk, which has some really interesting recipes from around the world. I'll put a link to that in the chat in the show notes. So with all of that out of the way, I would like to pass you over to Anya. Thank you so much, Anya.
Hello, good evening or good morning if anyone is joining from Asia. Thank you very much for hosting me. Thank you very much for invite. I love to share my passion to vegan and healthy food. So today I would like to invite you for the virtual food tour journey around Georgia, together with a mini cooking demo. My name is Anya. I am the founder of Living Veggie by Anya, which is an education company based at the moment in Singapore. And I believe on a daily basis, what I'm trying to do is to teach people that we don't have to choose, that the vegan healthy food can be delicious. And to help better navigate nutritional part, I obtained certification in plant-based nutrition by Cornell University in US, Winchester University in UK. So each recipes which are designed, they have in mind how to balance your meal, how to improve absorption of crucial nutrients. But being a foodie, very passionate foodie, it's also important to me to create a delicious recipes. I offer nutritional workshops, private virtual food tours around Georgia, Iran, Denmark, and cooking classes. So if you would like to learn how to prepare the Persian, Georgian, Middle Eastern or Asian dishes, you can schedule a private session with me where it's not a pre-recorded video, but together, step by step, simultaneously, we're cooking. So end of the session, you have food ready on your table, and obviously it's a private session for you, so you can ask any questions you might have. And also, you can find me on www.livingveggiebyanya.com, and please download the free ebook so you get a retouch of my now distant travels, because this is all pre-COVID, but this is record recipes which I learned or I fell in love with during my previous pre-COVID travels. I would like to encourage you to ask any questions or any comments you might have during the presentation. I love to be disturbed, and I really miss face-to-face interaction. So please don't be shy, just type your questions or any comments you might have in a chat box, and I will try to address it straight away. So if you don't have any questions now, maybe I can just, I'm based in Singapore. I would love to know where are you based? Where are you dialing from? Do we have anyone from Asia here? If you can share Canada, yes, slightly colder. Canada also. Boston. Oh yes, Bangkok. It's a bit closer. Okay, well, if again any question, Jakarta and Hanoi, yeah, that's Jakarta especially would be 1.5 hours flight from Singapore. Okay, if we don't have, if you would like to share anything, again, use the chat, and I will start to share my San Francisco. Oh, I've been there. It's a vegan paradise. It's an amazing place. I'm sure that you're spoiled by the food choices over there. So I would start to share my screen. Just a second. Okay, share screen. First of all, just a little introduction to Georgia. When I'm talking about Georgia, it's an independent country in Central Asia, relatively small. It's just 3.7 million population. And you can see it's just close to Russia, Turkey, Armenia, Azerbaijan. So it's this part of the world. And religion, it's 88% Christian, 10% Islam. Why I mention it? Because that translates directly to the cuisine. And we will talk about it, especially why it's important when we're talking about the whole vegan scene in Georgia. When you hear about Georgia news, very often it's in relation to Abkhazia and South Ossetia, which are Russian occupied territories. So that's very often what you can hear on news in relation to Georgia. The name of the Georgians called their own country Sakartvelo, which is the old name from Byzantine Empire. Our English name Georgia comes from the Persian Gurgan, which means land of wolves. In terms of modern Georgia, it's very often seen as a great developing economy, and what is important, it's the least corrupt country in a whole Black Sea region, which again, if you decide to travel, it's quite important because it's a safe country. They are very welcoming to tourists, so you can feel safe over there. Georgia, although it's a relatively small place, it's a really, it has everything, beautiful mountains, it has access to Black Sea, and according to ancient Georgian legend, when the god was distribute the land to each, only Georgians who are so busy with eating and drinking, and this is a really, really big part of their culture, they finally appear to God and he gave them just a very, very small piece of land, but it was so beautiful. They call it a God's acre. When we're talking about Georgian cuisine, it does reflect the history of the country. So it's an influence of the former Persian Empire of Russia, but also it has its own original character. And I think what is the most unique for the Georgian cuisine is the usage of walnuts, which are absolutely everywhere. In meat dishes, and they use it quite interesting, not in desserts, but they use it in the main courses. They're cooking stews with walnuts. So if you have an allergy to walnuts, that might be very, very challenging to eat Georgian food. Generally, cuisine is quite heavy. It uses a lot of meat, cheese, dough. But to balance it, they always have a nice vegetable salad with a lot of herbs, coriander, dill, parsley, and obviously walnuts. The vegan scene in Georgia, it's not as popular as it might be in other countries. But especially in the summer, you would find a lot of fruits which are sold just on the street, and there are options which go beyond the regular meat and cheese, and they use beans, bread, potatoes, mushrooms. Aubergine will be one of the most popular dish, and what is important to note that the dishes are served family style, so you can share it. Why the Georgia is vegan friendly? I mentioned it before about majority of Georgia to being Christian, as the fact the Orthodox they fasting, they have a lot of periods of fasting. And when the Orthodox are fasting, that's very often means meat and dairy free. So they will have not as a part of the tradition, they will have a lot of dishes which will be vegan. And when you go to the restaurant, maybe instead of refer to the vegan option, you should rather ask for the fasting menu, and that will be menu which is meat and dairy free. In case of dessert, there might be a honey over there, but I think about these ingredients you can just sort of speak face to face, but there is no cross-contamination. They understand the fasting will be no any meat, no fish, no seafood. So you can find amazing vegan options in Georgia. When we're talking about traditional vegan classics, here it's the dish which always comes vegan. It's a lobio. It's a stew. It's a very thick stew of beans. Here the photo it's from lobio nigozit, which is from red kidney beans. But imagine that you cook your beans with walnut, pomegranate, garlic, onion, coriander. It's super aromatic, packed with flavors, and if you want to replicate it at home, it's really easy. And at the same time, it's a perfectly balanced meal packed with protein. Ajab sandali, for example, it's the dish which you will find in many restaurants. And if you have a Georgian restaurant abroad, I am sure that will be part of the menu, might be on the side dishes section. It's basically like a French ratatouille because it's a medley of different vegetables, always with an aubergine, with eggplant, tomatoes, bell peppers, garlic, onion, sometimes with potatoes, and it's just a slow roasted veggies, full of flavor, perfect summer dish. Pali, it's something I can tell you that will be our cooking demo later on. So I show you how to prepare this beautiful green spinach pali. Again, always vegan because it's based on vegetables and walnuts, and obviously seasoning you can find made it from aubergine, from beetroot, red peppers. today we will do the spinach version. So I won't talk much about this one. One of my favorite Georgian dish, although it's probably more an appetizer than a dish itself. This Badrigani mixvit, which is the eggplant roll, which is stuffed with like a walnut cottage cheese. Again, always vegan, served with a beautiful pomegranate on the top. I mean, I'm sure you will fall in love with this dish. Salads in the summer, you can find them everywhere, and obviously tomatoes, cucumber, plenty of herbs. And instead of olive oil, very often you could see the Georgians will use sunflower oil as a dressing, and walnuts. Again, that will be always on the table. Pickles, since there is an abundance of the vegetables in the summertime, that translates to pickles in the winter. And they pickle everything, so tomatoes, cucumber, zucchini, garlic, but unusual, and it's usually it's typical for Georgia. It's like a wheat jonjoli, which you can always find in the Georgian supermarket on the pickle section. Walnuts. So obviously as a companion to salads, but you can make a walnut sauces, not as a dessert. They are used with the savory dishes. I think that baje, it's sort of the most versatile. I use it here. You can see it in mine on the right hand side is the photo when I use it for tofu. Instead of meat, but the walnut sauce goes great with any protein. You can use it with tempeh, with any plant-based meat. That will go really great. And then you can have a cold sauce, tzatziki. Here you can see with a roasted cauliflower, and I think that's amazing to see how versatile simple walnut could be, and it goes great again with a coriander, garlic, a bit of chili, just a hint of chili. Try it at home. It's super easy to make it, or if you need any help, we do offer Georgian cooking classes, so you can contact me directly and we can prepare delicious walnut sauce. Adjika, it's condiment which is used across the Caucasian countries, so obviously also in Georgia. It's really spicy, and UNESCO even added this to the cultural heritage list. The local version includes obviously hot red peppers, garlic, herbs, and then the spices, which is coriander, dill, blue fenugreek, which is typical only for the countries of Caucasian mountains, salt, and obviously walnuts. People also do the home version of adjika. When you to make it slightly milder, you can add tomatoes, for example. It's the version which is mostly popular in Russia and Ukraine. Talking about vegan desserts, here you can see churchela. These are like sweet candies, so they are quite hard. Always vegan. That's absolutely amazing that all the versions are always vegan, and it's made from different fruits. Obviously, the orange one, that will be apricot. Then we can have a pomegranate, different berries, and you can see them on the street markets hanging exactly like it is. It's a great souvenir from Georgia. Another vegan sort of snack dessert, it's klapi, and it's like a fruit ladder. similar for the Persian cuisine. I think that will be the Persian influence. And here you have a dry grape juice, which is thickened with flour. Then it's spread thinly on the sheet, and then just they dry it. You can find it again made from different fruits, as you can see, different colors. So plums, which is really sour because they don't use sugar. What is actually great about this dessert, it doesn't have any extra sugar. So the slightly sweeter, will be more pleasant to eat, will be apricot and peaches. Talking a bit about Tbilisi, which is the capital of Georgia. Old town, as you can see the photo, it has still its charm, although it has been reconstructed many times. Just like Georgian cuisine, it does reflect the history of Georgia. So it's a mixture of East and West, and everything in a really small town of Tbilisi. As a tourist, you can visit many churches, bathhouses, and all these beautiful wooden houses with carved balconies. The main street of Tbilisi, it's Rustaveli Avenue, named after medieval Georgian poet. And it starts at the Freedom Square. It's about 1.5 kilometer long, and it's a main street when you can find the Parliament of Georgia, the National Opera, the theater, and also all the Western style of big shops or headquarters of the big companies that will be around Rustaveli Avenue. If you ever will be in Georgia, I am sure that you would see Narikala Fortress, which means little fortress. Very little remains from the old fortress, but it's considered the mother fortress of Georgia. When you can go by the little cable car, as you can see it, you can go on the top, and you have a breathtaking views of Tbilisi. If you go on a nice sunny day, you have like a beautiful view for the entire town. Going back to the traditional dishes, because if you will be in Tbilisi, every single restaurant will definitely has a hinkali, which are Georgian dumplings, and they are very different fillings. The most common will have meat. However, I know that the mushroom or potato will be vegan. Just very often they are served in a meat broth, so maybe you can ask to be served without any broth, because they won't have any veggie based broth. But if you just have them dry, they should be mushroom or potato version should be vegan. And you can see it's a special etiquette to eat them. You just grab them just like you see on the photo, and this end usually it's thick and very doughy because it's not meant to be eaten. It's just the middle of the dumpling, the round part. It's the one to be eaten. The thick doughy part is the one which is just to hold it. If you go further away from Tbilisi, it's a city of Gori, which I think nowadays all the tourists going there for one and only reason only. It's a birthplace of Joseph Stalin. And when I've been there were tourists all around the world to see it. It's a really small city. In Middle Ages, there was an important military town with a strategic position. Today, you would see the city square has a Joseph Stalin statue. There will be there is an old car train which Joseph Stalin was using because that was his favorite method of transport, going by train. You would see the house where he was born, so interesting traveling time. I think it's 2-3 hours a drive from Tbilisi, so it's worth to see it. Another town which it's really worth to see. It's the second largest city in Georgia. It's Batumi, which is just off the Turkish border. And that's the city which attracts a lot of foreign investment, where you can find newly built Radisson, Hilton, and one of this also the skyscraper tower, which you can see. It's the service hall, public service hall. But how Batumi is famous is the Las Vegas of Black Sea, when the gambling is allowed. So you can see a lot of tourists from Turkey, especially, coming there for the weekend of beach and gambling holiday. There is a very famous delicacy from Batumi, which I'm sure you will find if you go there, which is a walnut jam. As I mentioned, walnuts are used in all different, very creative ways in Georgia. They're using walnuts, the unripe green walnuts, so those which are normally, we don't eat them, but because they cook them with sugar, cinnamon, vanilla, and all the spices, can be cardamom, sometimes lime, and you get a really interesting jam. And that used to be, again, Stalin's favorite treat. Big export product from Georgia. It's Borjomi water. It's at least in the former Soviet Union countries, that's always a premium water. That's an Evian of Georgia, and it's a volcanic origin, over 1,000 years old. And a lot of research shows that it helps in a plant and different digestive issues. So you can see a lot of resorts which are built around Borjomi, and try this water. It's slightly salty. It has its flavor. It's not as plain as a regular mineral water, so it's worth to try it. Georgian wines, that's the very interesting topic, because it's one of the oldest wine region in the world. And when you go to Georgia, Georgians are very, very proud of the wines, and you would see a lot of wine tasting everywhere. And after 8,000 years, they still make a wine in their own unique ways. And they use those clay pots, which you can see on a photo. They call them kferi, which dig underground to keep the certain temperature, and over there underground in those clay pots, the wine will slowly ferment and develop. Those kferi, those big clay pots, come in at different sizes. On average, it will be 800 liters each. So there is a lot of wine over there. They are filled with the freshly squeezed juice, and then typically pressed by foot. The seeds, stems, and the skin and juice are all poured into this clay pot together, and then it's buried for 6 to 9 months, depends on the wine. The wine ferments and also filtrates naturally, with stems, seeds, and skin slowly falling down to this clay pot due to its shape. So I picked the type of wine here on the photo. My absolute favorite from Georgia, it's Saperavi. It's a full body red wine, which goes absolutely great with all this walnut based dishes. if you cannot travel to Georgia, I really strongly encourage you to try at least Georgian wine. It's really amazing, and remember, it's the only one country in the world which still producing wine according to this old method. As I mentioned before, Georgians, there is a big eating and drinking culture. It's a bit like Italy of Central Asia. When eating together, it's an important part of the family life. And in Georgian, they call those feasts supra. Supra, it's a tablecloth, similar to Persian or Turkish, where there will be all dishes served family style. And I know the main courses, they won't be vegan, but with all those little side dishes, condiments, you can build an amazing vegan feast. There will be always a person, here you can see in this picture down, there will be a master of the ceremony, tamada, and that's a person which is responsible for raising toasts. That's again big part of the Georgian culture. Some other nations find it strange, but their toasts are usually long, poetic speeches, not just raising a glass and say cheers. So it comes with experience, and it's usually the elderly head of the family which is doing that. So if you ever will have a chance to participate in a Georgian supra, in a Georgian feast, go ahead. You will find some vegan options. You will hear a lot of poetry and try amazing wine. That was my presentation, and if you have any question,
we have some questions in the chat. Shall I post them to you?
They're still sitting. I can see them, so maybe I will start from the top. Yeah, I can see it's from you. Yes, so Georgia will not have many vegan restaurants per se. And again, even in English, they will not understand what vegan. We have to go into this fasting. For them, it's strictly linked to the religion that people obtain from meat and dairy due to the religious reasons. The whole vegan concept might be a bit new, but if you will take this, that you're fasting today, the only non-vegan item might be honey, but that will be in a dessert. They understand no meat, no dairy. So I understand that your friend could have a problem finding vegan restaurants per se, but bread is amazing. I love, yes, if you love eggplant and walnuts, Georgia, it's a country for you to go. When you travel to Georgia, what surprised you? What's the best time to visit Georgia? I love summer. I love heat, and over there, heat might be a proper heat to above 25 degrees. So it depends what you like. I don't like winter. And to me, winter is already plus 15 Celsius. Sorry, I don't know how much it's in Fahrenheit. But I like it when it's really, really warm and hot. If you like slightly cooler seasons, I think springtime will be really good. The fasting periods, obviously before Easter, before Christmas, but also those strict Orthodox fasting every Wednesday and Friday. But if you are in a restaurant, they are able to prepare to you fasting dish whenever you are as a fasting dish.
I don't personally, sorry to interrupt, personally, I don't know so much about like the Russian Orthodox fasting, which I think this is connected with.
Yes.
But I do know about the Ethiopian one, and it's a very similar thing. You know, most Christian Ethiopians will fast once a week. So everyone knows how to make vegan food. It's awesome.
Yes, see, the problem is with I have a lot of Russian customers here in Singapore. They are not vegans, and they only eat vegan food in a fasting season period. The problem is they don't look into this food in a restaurant, because fasting it's a period when you restrain yourself from something, when you limit yourself. When you go to a restaurant, you want the most festive, rich options which you have, and very often that's the reason the restaurants decide not to include them on the menu, because that's something what people have at home. That's not the festive food, but they can do it. As you say, they know how to do it. Yes, the architecture, it's amazing. It's a true mixture of East and West. There is obviously the whole Soviet Union mixed with Persia, Turkey in a relatively small territory. So it's amazing to see it. What is the climate like? Is warm year round? No, they have a proper winter, and like me, I don't like winter. I don't like snow. Georgia in the winter, it's not the place to go if you don't like snow. What language is spoken in Georgia is Georgian, with a very unique letters. It's not a Russian letters. I cannot write or speak Georgian, so I cannot demonstrate you, but if you just Google Georgian language, it's its own unique language, very difficult, nothing like Russian, no, not even close to. However, in Georgia, that was quite interesting. The young generation, when I say young, these are people which are born after Soviet Union collapse, they already study English. Older generations, so like the taxi drivers, I spoke Russian everywhere. They couldn't communicate English. What is my vegan story? I'm assuming it's my personal story. I became vegan because of health reasons, and I never had actually any health issues. I see as my investment for future. I believe, after research and study nutrition of whole food plant-based diet, that that's the optimum way as I can do something about my health. That's the way, as obviously no guarantees, like with any investment, any financial investment you will do. If you save money for your retirement, you don't know what happened, and nobody can give you guarantee. However, it's probably established by most people that you have to save money for your retirement. To me, each meal which I eat, it's like adding to my future health. So I hope when I will be 60, 70 or 80, I will still have enough life energy or enough health to run around and to do what I want. I see it as the best way to prevent cancer, cardiovascular diseases. They're also study now showing Alzheimer, which to me, it's a great news. So I see it as my investment for future, and I understand investment has no guarantees. Tomorrow I might be run over by a bus, and it happens also to vegans. So that's not a magic life insurance, but that was my reason. When I turned certain age, I turned 30, I decided it's time to do something with your health, and maybe better than to wait until I get something, it's to try to prevent it. Hence, I turned vegan. I hope that's answered the question. Do you have any other questions?
I have one. So I have a friend who lives in Azerbaijan, and I know they're neighbours, but you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're exactly the same. But the climate is very interesting. It's very, very windy, but there's also mountains and there's also snow. So is it like a dry heat in summer? Oh, I should say that Azerbaijan is very hot in summer too, so it really has extreme temperatures. Is it similar in Georgia?
Yes, it will be similar. Obviously, when you go to mountains, to mountain area will be cooler than the Black Sea, which I show you, the Batumi, the Las Vegas of Black Sea, that will be warmer over there, but still they are seasons. It's not hot all the way. But talking about, I think that's a misconception about this part of the world, about big discrepancies in the temperature, because Russia, I love Russia, I think it's a great place to visit. People, I think, are not aware that if you can translate it to Fahrenheit, that there is a +30 in the summer and -20 in the winter. I'm talking about Celsius. If you can help me to translate it to Fahrenheit.
I will try.
Because I'm sorry, I don't know it, but it's a big discrepancy.
It's going to take me a second, but yeah, it's going to be something like 70 or 80.
Is there
122?
That's minus or that's plus?
I think. Okay, sorry, did you want me to convert plus 30
yes, please.
degrees?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I will do that and put it in the chat.
I just want you to understand that this part of Fahrenheit 85. It goes to the both extremes, and I think people are used to that, and a lot of them, they learn to embrace it in the sense that when it's summer, everybody goes to the seaside, to the beach without traveling overseas. Winter time, it's normal for them. They have a snow, they can go skiing. So you have everything. Georgia obviously is not as big as Russia, but you have both. You can go on a beach holiday in the summer, and you can go winter skiing in the winter. Is there a vegan group travel that goes to Georgia, or is independent travel? I'm sorry, I always travel there by myself. I never actually check it out. Amanda, if you like, I can find it out for you. If you just either ping me on a Facebook or Instagram Messenger, I can check it out for you. At the moment, sorry, I don't know the answer to that question. Because Georgia, it's safe to travel on your own. However, yes, you have to spend some time on booking things and planning your trip, and maybe learn a few phrases to navigate the restaurants. But the wine tasting very often now with a little nibbles, and they will be happy to arrange some vegan for you, but probably it has to be arranged in advance. So anyone wants to go to Georgia? And just to clarify, I'm actually not Georgian. I just love the country, and I do think it's one of the most underrated cuisine in the world, because as we talked before, this is not a food which people tried. They had a chance to try, and I do hope it will change. When you think about Georgian food, other way around. Italian food, for most people, it's always associated with a great food, and very often you cannot sort of get it wrong. The same opinion, it's in the old former Soviet Union Republic about Georgian food, because they didn't have so much Western Italian influences. Each country, each big city will have a Georgian restaurant, and everybody knows the food will be amazing. You might have one or two dishes you don't like, similar like with Italian, but generally it's a crowd pleaser, and that's how the Georgian food is seen where I'm coming from. I'm coming from Poland originally, or in how it's seen in Russia, Ukraine. Georgian food is a synonym of a good food, of a hearty, big meal. Yes, so check it out. because you won't be disappointed with Georgian food. Yes, Amanda, Poland is, I am actually very proud to say it, Poland, Warsaw, where I'm coming from, which is the capital of Poland. It's very vegan friendly. So you can now find a vegan ramen restaurant, vegan Mexican, vegan Italian, plus the regular restaurants with a lot of vegan options. It's just a bit cold. At the moment, I would not recommend anyone to travel over there. It's not fun. But summertime is great. Summertime is great. So if I will slowly start my food demo, because I really, I will show you that with ingredients which all of you can get it in US, in Canada, you can actually create yourself a Georgian dish and you don't have to go to the restaurant. So if you give me just 1 minute, because I have to stand up and change the camera, and then you can take the notes and hope to prepare a delicious Georgian food.
Okay, so just whilst Anya's getting ready, don't forget there is a link at the top of the chat there where you can go and get a copy of Anya's recipes from all over the world, so that you can make some of these dishes by yourself. There's nothing like a little bit of armchair travel. If you don't feel very confident traveling in 2022, then bring the world to you by reading interesting books from around the world, by cooking new cuisines, watching amazing movies, learning a new language. All of these things will bring the rest of the world to you, especially if you don't feel comfortable traveling by yourself yet. Okay, thank you, Anya.
Thank you. Yes, I agree with you. The cooking actually brings you the whole country, the whole culture into your table. You don't have to go to the airport. You don't have to go far. So today, I will show you how to replicate a spinach curry. I know it's a difficult pronunciation. It's a little, if you remember from the presentation, this little spinach bowl, how you can prepare it from ingredients, which I'm sure you can find in any supermarket. So I will quickly run through the ingredients. The first one is obviously spinach. Here I have a defrosted spinach. You can use the fresh one. Any spinach will do. Walnuts, as I cannot imagine cooking a Georgian food without any walnuts. Pomegranate seeds, you could see that first of all they're adding this beautiful color, this vibrant ruby color, and also nice crunch and a bit of this acidity. The flavors will come from fresh cilantro, coriander, garlic. I'm using a white wine vinegar, but you can replace it with apple cider vinegar, just a splash. Optionally, you can use olive oil if you're following whole food plant-based diet, or if you're looking into eliminate fat or maybe reduce fat in your diet. That's not necessary. It will work very well without any olive oil. And spices. I know that if we have any Georgians here, I know there is a traditional mix of spice, which they call chmieli suneli. When I'm based in Singapore, it's absolutely not available. And I'm sure it will be difficult to find in a regular supermarket, either in US or Canada. So to get a closest possible taste to chmieli suneli, we're going to mix coriander powder and fennel powder. These two, that would be our blend of spices instead of traditional chmieli suneli, which is a Georgian spice. And a bit of salt. That's it. So I hope you see ingredients easily available. You can get them in any supermarket, and let's get started. What I did before, I have 230 grams of defrosted spinach, and I quickly microwave it for like 45 seconds to 1 minute. If using a fresh spinach, just throw it into boiling water for maximum 2 minutes. You don't want to cook it through, you just want to soften it up, basically. And the most important part of this dish, the sort of secret of this dish, is to remove this water from the spinach. And there is no any smart way to go about it, just to do it manually. So, because my spinach has been microwaved, it's full of water, it's very soft, so you have to just remove the water. And how we do it? We do it manually. Press it, squeeze it as hard as you can, piece by piece. And I will show you the texture which you should aim for. I know that this 230 grams look like quite a lot of spinach, but it's a portion for one hungry person, or maybe two, because spinach mostly consists of water. Once you start to remove it, the volume significantly decrease. Okay, so that's what you want. It's already dry spinach. There is still a bit of water, and bit is fine, but you can see it doesn't drip and it holds its shape together. So that's what you want. And remember to do it when it's cool, because obviously when it's hot, it's very difficult to do it. So I microwaved it just before our session, and spinach had a chance to cool down. The same if you're using a fresh spinach. You can see it, just remove the water. And it's really important, if you don't remove this water now, our spinach balls, the spinach pali, they won't hold its shape. So it's really important, and that's the last part. If you don't like vegetables, that's a great way to smuggle a little bit more to your daily intake. Okay, I'll just try my hands. Yeah, it's a big dirty job, but this was just the hardest part, I promise. You see how much water I have from just 200 grams of spinach. So this was very little. Here I have my spinach, really dry. I can grab it, and it's already, you can form some sort of shape, ball shape from that. That's what we're aiming for. So we'll leave it aside. And we quickly prepare the rest of the spinach pali. So you need a blender. And today I have a nice big blender, food processor. If you don't have a big one, any small blender with an S-shaped blade will absolutely do, because all what we have to do is to process our walnuts. So I'm adding walnuts, fresh cilantro with garlic. I like a lot of garlic, so I'm adding the whole clove. If you like it, if you don't like it so much, add just half, or if you want, maybe you can add the roasted garlic, so it will be slightly milder, sweeter taste. I will add white wine vinegar, or you can add apple cider vinegar if that's what you have. I will add a tablespoon. Remember, a tablespoon is 15 milliliters. Tablespoon. And our seasoning, which is fennel. Fennel powder, and coriander powder. Bit of salt, just a bit, less is better. Remember that you can always add it after because we're going to taste it, but you cannot remove it. So more salt, less is always more. And now I'm going to blend it. My blender is really noisy, so I'll go quiet just for 1 minute. I have a big blender to take it from the edges. That's what you're aiming for. You would like to have like a walnut paste. Basically, when it's all nice, nicely blended, make sure there are no pieces of walnuts. Try to avoid adding water because again, if this mixture is too watery, we might struggle with forming the bowl. So vinegar and olive oil, I would say that should be only liquid part in that recipe. Now we're throwing our spinach, and what is important, I will use the pulse option, or if you don't have this option, just try to blend it for maybe 20-30 seconds and see what happens. We don't want to get a baby food spinach. We don't want to get it completely mashed. We still want to keep the texture just nicely incorporated with the walnut paste we made before. So I will just pause it. It smells amazing. Vinegar, garlic, fresh coriander. And the fennel, really nice. And you can see.
Can you tell us the name of this dish? Laura missed it. Can you tell us the name?
Spinach pchali, and I'm typing it because I know the pronunciation is quite difficult. Oh, sorry. If you can retype to everyone, sorry.
Yes, of course.
And now is the best part of this dish. We're actually going to prepare spinach pchali. So we take a spoon, make sure that this one is dry, nothing is dripping. If it's too wet, if you see that maybe some water is dripping, add a few more walnuts and blend it again. And taste it. That will be time to taste it. If you need more salt or you will make maybe like more garlic, that will be moment to adjust it. Mine is perfect. So we take a spoon, and again that will be a dirty work, and we form the bowl. We form a nice bowl. You could see it holds its shape really easily because we remove all the water. Then you poke a hole in the middle. We already have our pomegranate seeds, and we fill it with pomegranate seeds. Flatten it out. So this is how it looks.
It looks amazing. So would this be served as like an appetizer, or on like a family style?
Family style. In Georgia, they don't have as appetizers and entries. It's all family style on the table. But very often, what I do, I just serve it this with those eggplant rolls, if you remember. Serve it with a glass of wine. This is it goes perfectly with wine, because when you drink alcohol, very often you look for some fat, because that's the best way to sort of delay the effects of alcohol, to find some fat. Walnuts are the healthy fats, which when you have a glass of wine will nicely absorb your wine in the stomach. So it's really great with just glass of wine, and it looks so pretty, green and a pomegranate.
It really does look lovely. So fun, so easy to make.
It's all natural ingredients. I mean, you saw it that we didn't use any nasties, any process. You don't need a lot of salt even, because of the fennel, coriander, garlic. So it's already very flavorsome, and it's relatively easy to make it. The microwave makes it even quicker, because once you throw it in the boiling water, obviously it adds a few minutes extra. If you just do microwave like I did, you can have the entire dish within 15-20 minutes. And yes, I know it looks very Christmassy because of the colors. Yes, I agree, Laura. So here you can see it, really easy. Finger foods, if you make, these are quite big. I made them quite big. If you want them, you can make them super small and serve it with some bread, with some olives on the side. I think it's enough for a little snack. Okay. So, do you have any questions? Once I'm finishing my colors. If you would like to learn more Georgian dishes, and trust me, there are few, I would say, vegan superstar in the Georgian cuisine, check our cooking class, where then we can meet and face to face, prepare together simultaneously. I will guide you how to prepare Georgian food from ingredients which are available pretty much everywhere. Any other questions? Thank you, Amanda. Well, I hope it inspired you, that even before the restaurant, you can go and try it yourself. As I say, if you go through the squeezing out of the water, then there is no room for the error. That's usually the only one thing which can go wrong. Squeeze it hard and you will get amazing spinach curry.
Fantastic. Thank you. And Laura has already downloaded the Globetrotting PDF. That's fantastic. And I really invite anybody, whether you are watching this event live or if you are watching the replay, you can go to the web page for this talk, for this session, and you can quickly sign up for Anya's ebook.
Here I just posted my Instagram because that's where I publish all the recipes, not necessarily Georgian, but I love Persian, Middle Eastern food. Obviously based in Singapore, there's always some Asian influence. So if you follow me on Instagram, there are always some recipes and nutritional tips over there. And I'm sure that you can find Georgian wine. I will type here my favorite and the most popular Georgian wine. It's a full body red wine, so very, very heavy, which will exactly go great with fatness from walnuts. If you find red Saperavi, it's absolutely amazing. I would not go for the white. Oh yeah, I didn't mention it. I don't know whether you spotted all the photos. Georgian red wines, absolutely amazing. I don't think the white is something what they master quite there. So if it's your first experience, go for the red wine. Thinking about it, all the wine tasting in Georgia, they didn't put much of white. Obviously, traditionally it was a red wine.
Amazing. Great. All right. Well, it looks like we've had all of our questions for this particular session. If you think of a really good question to anyone listening and you would like to put it in the comments of this talk, I'm sure Anya will get back to it at some point and she will answer any questions. Amanda, is there anything else you want to add before we finish for today?
Go to Georgia.
Wonderful. Well, Anya, I want to thank you so much for such a wonderful introduction for many of us, I'm sure, to Georgia as a country, to Georgia as a destination, and to a new type of cuisine, and getting us all really excited about Georgian food. I know I really want to explore this part of the world a little bit more, and yeah, I really invite people to connect with Anya. She gave her Instagram handle up there, and through her website, if you would like to do any other kinds of sort of cooking demonstrations or cooking lessons, I'm sure she will be, I'm sure there will be lots more information about that on the website. Thank you so much, Anya.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
I just want to remind everybody to visit nvw22.heysummit.com to see the replay of this talk and all of the other talks, and to see what new talks are coming up from now moving on. Thank you so much, Anya.